The world's attention is locked on Ukraine, Gaza and Taiwan. But there's another war, one no one's talking about. A brutal, collapsing conflict ripping an African nation apart. A war that's already killed over 15,000 people, and yet barely makes a headline. This is Sudan, and right now, it's living through hell. In the middle of Africa, two generals, once allies, are now turning the capital into a graveyard. One commands the army, the other commands a militia once trained to protect the government, now trying to overthrow it. And between them, millions of civilians trapped, starving and running for their lives. This isn't just another civil war. It's a proxy war, one being fought by shadow powers, from the UAE to Russia, and it's a warning of what happens when the world looks away too long. Let's go back to where it all began. April 2023, Khartoum, the capital of Sudan. The city wakes to explosions. The sound of anti-aircraft fire echoes across the skyline. Within hours, one of Africa's largest cities is turned into a battlefield. Two men are at the center of it all. General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, commander of Sudan's regular army, and his former deputy, Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, better known as Hemedti, the leader of the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF. These two men once shared the same goal, seizing power after the fall of Sudan's longtime dictator, Omar al-Bashir. But power has a price, and in Sudan it's always been paid in blood. Hemedti's RSF began as the infamous Janjaweed militia, the same fighters accused of genocide in Darfur in the early 2000s. They were ruthless, burning villages, killing civilians, crushing rebellions. And now, those same men are back, this time fighting for control of the entire country. Burhan commands tanks and warplanes. Hemedti commands speed, chaos and terror. And since the fighting began, Sudan's capital has been caught in the crossfire. Neighborhoods have been flattened, hospitals turned into war zones, civilians are hiding in schools, mosques and half-burned buildings. The numbers are staggering. Over 10 million people displaced. Millions more without food, medicine or power. And yet, this war barely appears on your feed. Why? Because it doesn't involve NATO, or nuclear weapons, or billion-dollar contracts. But behind the scenes, everyone's hands are dirty. The United Arab Emirates is accused of sending drones and weapons to the RSF. Iran reportedly backs the Sudanese army with cheap drones and ammo. Russia's Wagner Group, yes, the same mercenaries that fought in Ukraine, had deep ties in Sudan long before the war. They smuggled gold from Sudan's mines, helping fund Putin's invasion of Ukraine. And now, those same networks are fueling the chaos again. This is no longer about politics, it's about profit. Sudan is rich in gold, minerals and access to the Red Sea, one of the world's most strategic waterways. Whoever wins this war won't just rule Sudan. They'll control a gateway to Africa, the Middle East and beyond. But as the generals fight for power, the people of Sudan are disappearing. Satellite images show entire cities burned to the ground. The United Nations says the atrocities in Darfur have returned. Massacres, ethnic cleansing, women and children executed in the streets. In El Geneina, civilians were hunted and killed by the hundreds in just 1 week. The RSF and allied militias are accused of burying victims in mass graves to hide the scale of the slaughter. The world promised never again after Rwanda, then after Darfur. But here we are again, and the silence is deafening. Even humanitarian workers are being targeted. Doctors are kidnapped, aid convoys ambushed, entire hospitals looted and turned into military bases. The World Food Programme says millions are on the brink of starvation, yet no one's talking about it. Meanwhile, Sudan's neighbours are being dragged into the chaos. Refugees flood into Chad, South Sudan and Egypt. Tribal militias and foreign mercenaries cross the borders. The UN warns that if this war spreads, it could ignite an entire regional collapse, a domino effect across Africa's fragile belt. But here's the real danger. This war is showing the world how cheap and easy modern warfare has become. Drones, propaganda and chaos, all controlled by men who don't need armies, just money and tech. Sudan is the testing ground for the next generation of hybrid wars, where truth dies first and civilians die next. And while the world argues over headlines in Europe and the Middle East, the people of Sudan are learning what it means to be forgotten. No one's sending aid, no one's sending weapons, no one's even watching. In Khartoum, the skyline burns at night. Children sleep under bridges. Doctors perform surgeries by candlelight. And those still alive whisper the same question: does the world even know we exist? This is the war no one's talking about. And maybe that's the most dangerous part of all. But what makes Sudan's collapse even more terrifying is that it didn't happen overnight. It was engineered, step by step, by years of corruption, foreign deals, and betrayal. For decades, Sudan was ruled by Omar al-Bashir, a dictator who clung to power through fear. He played every side, the Islamists, the West, even Al-Qaeda, to keep his throne. And when the world finally turned against him, Bashir made one last move. He built a monster. He armed the Janjaweed militia, the same group that would later become Hemedti's Rapid Support Forces, and unleashed them on his own people. When Bashir fell in 2019, after mass protests and international pressure, Sudan had a chance at democracy. Crowds filled the streets of Khartoum waving flags, singing, crying. For the first time in 30 years it felt like freedom, but behind the scenes the men with guns never left. Burhan and Hemedti stepped in, promising stability, and instead they took everything. By 2021 the two generals staged a coup, kicking out the civilian government that the world had supported. The dream of democracy died in a single day, and 2 years later they turned on each other. This was never just a power struggle, it was about control of Sudan's future. The army wanted to keep Sudan under a traditional military rule. The RSF wanted total autonomy, its own chain of command, its own gold mines, its own country within a country. When Burhan said no, Hemedti's men opened fire. Since then, the RSF has captured most of Khartoum and several key cities in Darfur. They control gold mines, weapon routes, and fuel supplies. They even broadcast their victories on TikTok and Telegram, using smartphones to film battles and executions. The war for Sudan isn't just on the ground anymore, it's being fought online, one gruesome video at a time. And this is where the rest of the world steps in, quietly, indirectly, but decisively. While the UN talks about peace, foreign powers are choosing sides. The UAE is accused of arming the RSF through bases in Chad. Iran is supplying cheap drones to the Sudanese Army. And Egypt, terrified of chaos spreading south, supports Burhan's military government. It's not about ideology anymore. It's business. Sudan's chaos has become profitable. Meanwhile, humanitarian aid barely exists. Every convoy that tries to enter is looted or blocked. Children are starving to death while soldiers trade gold for ammunition. Famine is spreading faster than bullets. The UN warns that this could become the worst hunger crisis in the world, but without media attention, no one sends help. You see, Sudan's war shows us something bigger, something frightening about the modern world, that wars don't need to be declared anymore. They just happen, quietly, brutally, endlessly, while the rest of us scroll past. A city falls here, 1,000 die there, and life goes on. No global outrage, no viral hashtag, just silence. In Omdurman, one of Sudan's oldest cities, families are boiling leaves for food. In Darfur, survivors dig graves with their bare hands. And in Khartoum, entire neighborhoods have vanished. Bombed, burned, erased. The government still claims to rule the country. The RSF claims they're winning. But the truth is, no one is winning. Sudan has become a black hole of suffering, and the world barely notices the pull. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the silence isn't an accident, it's strategy. Because as long as no one's watching, those who profit from this chaos can keep doing it. Gold smugglers, arms dealers, mercenary recruiters, they thrive in the shadows while Sudan bleeds. And here's the part that should scare you. Sudan isn't alone. From Myanmar to Mali, Haiti to Yemen, more than a dozen countries are sliding into the same dark pattern. Failed states, endless militias, global silence. It's the new age of invisible wars, where collapse is profitable and peace doesn't pay. In the streets of Khartoum, gunfire echoes through empty markets. Once bustling neighborhoods are ghosts now. And every survivor carries the same message: don't forget us. But the question is, will we listen? Or will Sudan fade into the long list of wars the world chose to ignore? Because sometimes the wars we don't talk about are the ones that define us the most. This is C4 Report.